Justice Complex for May 23rd, 2024.
Okay, and I believe this is your previous report we're doing, right? Yes. So we're going to move, if I can get a motion.
No motion.
Oh, no motion, I'm sorry. We'll just refer this to the full board without a recommendation. For maintaining the records. And I know we've received one to, oh, Madam Clerk, next item, I guess.
Item number 2, an update from Corporation Counsel James W. Heath regarding the status of the Criminal Justice Complex.
This may very well be one of the shortest meetings we've had yet. But anyway, we'll go to James. I appreciate you both being here, Mr. Hurst. And if you would give us an update.
Good afternoon, James Heath, Corporation Counsel.
Greg Hurst, Director of Facilities Management and Planning.
So I'm going to speak, Commissioner, on kind of our latest activities.
Okay.
Which is the report that you received earlier today, and then a copy of which I gave to you. And it's really just makes the announcement that we have said to all of our stakeholders. I don't think I communicated that to this committee, that the target date we have for the opening for the public is September 3rd, the day after Labor Day. And what that means is that all of our stakeholders, the court, MDOC, Sheriff's Department, and others prosecutors will be moved into the facility and being able to conduct business that they need to conduct on that day. And so we anticipate working all the way up until that point to accomplish it. As a practical matter, in first week or so in August, we have a schedule whereby stakeholders will begin moving out of their existing locations and moving in to the facility. And so it's an exciting time, and we feel that we are ready. Nothing has happened over the last several weeks since we kind of settled on that date to make us have concerns that we're not going to be able to reach that. That is well within our time period for the terms of our development agreement. And so that is where we are headed. And the stakeholders know about it. And so they are working like busy bees to do everything that they need to take care of with that. And we've been very pleased. One of the things that we've had to do, though, and the stakeholders have been sometimes reluctantly, but most of the time willingly working with us in terms of really suspending tours to the extent possible, because we really need everyone who is supposed to be working on transition doing that. And when you have various tours and everyone wants to bring in, well, you've got to peel off 2 or 3 people from this group or that group to, straighten out an area or respond to concerns. And so we really are working kind of all hands on deck, heading in the direction to transition. But we do believe that as we get into later in the month of July, we're going to be able to kind of free up a little bit and have folks who are not specifically working on transition take a look at things and the like. And so there will be opportunities, rest assured, before it opens to the public for stakeholders like commissioners and other folks. But that is, I just want to explain kind of why we're being kind of jealous with the time in that regard. Before I move on, any questions about that?
Just something that you mentioned, as far as the dates that you expect everyone will be in, it allows about a week breathing room between that and the actual date that we would have to be in or start paying and be out of the other buildings. That penalty, basically. So
2 things I'll say. We've got a little bit more breathing room than a week, but remember, it's not necessarily tied to when we're getting in, it's when we're getting out of our existing buildings. And so we've got a head start on some of those. So as you know, the JDF building has been completely cleared out and is ready for turnover. And we've actually had some conversations about what it might look like to start that turnover early. One of the things that we are taking a look at is that we have some people who park in that area. And so if we turn the building over, the facility, the old JDF over early, we would want to make sure we don't disrupt the parking for prosecutors and sheriffs and other folks who park over there. We've kind of been working at the same time. We've got a really great plan to clear out the buildings that we need to. And so we are very, very, very confident that we're going to meet our goals in that regard.
And I saw there's something mentioned in your information that you provided us about the parking lot for one of the ancillary parking lots off the actual footprint of
Yeah.
the CJC.
Greg, you want to talk a little about Keo and their work on that?
Absolutely. So the two parking lots are under construction currently for the CJC for parking. One actually was just there this morning, is all the way to the point of being striped, and we have landscaping, fences and so on. So if I would say for that particular lot, if we had to, we would be good to go as far as being able to park cars. There's still some things that need to be completed there to have that as a finished product. And then right behind that, just say a couple weeks behind that, if you will, as far as where we are to date with the lot I just mentioned. It's a secondary lot, which is still under construction, but we're at the point where we're looking to pave that lot, and it'll be just a couple of weeks before it's in the same shape as the current lot, the previous lot that I mentioned. So there's been very good progress and communication between our teams and our construction crews, and it's coming together very well. So it looks pretty good.
And so it sounded like it's going to be asphalt, right?
That
The
is
parking
correct.
lots, okay. All right.
And just want to reiterate, because I know this was a question initially when we talked years ago about this. We have enough parking for everyone. And so when we talk about releasing the parking plan for our employees, the public, and everyone else, we're really just kind of explaining where folks move around on the chessboard, not whether there's going to be spaces for everyone. And so we do have parking to accommodate, and that's going well. At the same time, we had a competitive bid process for a shuttle vendor, and we are in the process of trying to finalize a contract with them. We're really just looking at the number of routes, number of stops, and how we will be transporting people and what we need to get everyone to the facility. I will remind you, like I remind everyone all the time whenever we talk about that, the distance between the farthest lot is shorter than the distance between the Guardian and First Street parking. But we do think people are going to be happy with the shuttle service and the like. And that is a contract that's going to be submitted to you all as soon as we get it all buttoned up.
Good, good. The commissioners?
No,
Nothing? Commissioners? Okay, she's just here to listen. All right. Thank you for joining us. And, yep. Yes, Felicia?
through the chair, to this honorable body, thank you for indulging me. Who's gonna operate the lots, and are we gonna get a vendor? You mentioned the shuttle vendor. Have we decided about the operation of the actual lots themselves?
So yes, so we have Friedman, who is our property management company. Within their contract, they will have the service of monitoring and ensuring that those lots are secured, monitored, and clean. Those fall under that Friedman contract.
Thank you.
Are any of those lots at all going to be charged for parking at those, or is that company gonna provide that collection of the?
The executive has not made a formal announcement about free parking for no pay arms on those lots. So if construction is any clue as to
Okay.
what's going to happen.
All right, because I was thinking if we're going to have him do the collection of any funds, we probably have to have something in place, correct? As far as the collection and of the money and where the money goes,
Well,
how that's handled.
so the.
They
the
said it's
district-
not going to be an issue. They didn't think.
Okay, well, right, so I won't even go
Yeah,
there. But
okay.
the Freeman contract came here. Did we approve that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
we did.
okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Any, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go
So
ahead.
a couple things I do want to make you aware of. On March 9th, we had a a pipe expansion joint, and Greg, you correct me if I say it incorrectly, that failed in what we call the Sally Port. Think of it as a garage area in the ADF, and the particular pipe was carrying hot water. Within, we had the situation remediated that same day, turned off the water. DTR Energy Services, which operates the central utility plant, you all will recall, was alerted to it, turned off the water and the light. Within a day, we had the joint repaired by Barton Malo. And so one of the things we are doing, though, and under Greg's suggestion, I think it's a good one, is that we are going to be engaging a company to determine exactly why that pipe failed, whether there are other areas in the facility with a similar construction that would require us to make any sort of changes so that it doesn't happen again. And we have we're issuing a claim per our normal process against the developer, the contractor, and others who are involved, just to put them on notice of that and making sure that we get an idea of exactly what happened. This was an area that it was not a new construction point. The pipe had been up for well over a year.
Several years.
running water. And so it's not entirely clear to us as we sit here today why we had that failure. Sometimes things just happen. But I just wanted to make you all aware of that because we are going to be having formal discussions with the developer and the contractors involved. And so that's something that we are on top of. Before I move on, any questions about that at all? Okay. On last Friday, a solicitation closed for a event management firm to look at the grand opening activities for the facility. And so I spoke with folks in procurement, and they're going to be reviewing those responses to make sure that they pass the initial muster, and then collection of our stakeholders and others are going to be sitting in review of those proposals so that we appropriately open the facility in the grand fashion befitting the largest construction project in the county's history. And so once we kind of get rolling with that, we'll have more information about when we're going to be having activities and the like. My sense is that it's not going to be right around the time of the move in. No one holds a housewarming party on the day you move into your house. And so I probably think we're looking at, later on in the fall, early winter or something along those lines, but we'll have more information as we get ideas from the event management company about what should be included in that. And once they're selected, I'm sure that they'll have, would love to hear the thoughts of members of this commission as well.
In the same line as the train depot opening?
Yeah, maybe Eminem will come back. We'll see. The other thing is the Chair Bell is going to be getting a letter from myself and CFO Wallace. There are several. The county has an opportunity to audit certain spending related to the CJC, so long as we give them notice within 6 months of final completion. So we've got some time for that to occur. But there's two areas where I think that, and perhaps the OAG might be a good entity to help with that if it can be worked out. There's two areas. One, you recall what we call FF&E, the allowance is roughly $10 million. And that's a fund that both ROC and the county were able to pull from to purchase FF&E materials for the facility. If we instructed ROC, hey, we want you to buy this or we want you to buy that, they did it. And then we've done the same, you'll recall, with Source Blue and the like. I think it makes sense for us to do an audit of the expenditures that ROC has logged on that, just to make sure, and I've got no reason to suggest otherwise, but because we do have the ability to audit, just to make sure that those expenditures were in fact legitimate FF&E expenditures. And so that's just a matter of a paper trail, because for every dollar that wasn't obviously is $1 for the county. And so we want to know that information. That's part of the kind of closeout of our financial information that we'd have. The other area that I think makes sense for an audit is with the central utility plant. We call it the shell. The shell of the central utility plant is just the building, not the equipment that is inside that makes the place run. And so Rock was required to contribute $2.5 million roughly to the building of the shell. And so, and then the county paid the rest. And so we just, once again, want to make sure that all of those expenses were in fact directly related to the shell of the central utility plant and nothing else. That's just something that we've got some time after final completion to look at, but those are potential opportunities for the county to be involved in auditing, just to make sure that we received everything that we're supposed to. So there'll be more on that. I just want to give you a preview of requests that we're going to be making to the chair.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you a couple of quick questions. As far as talking about JDF has already been vacated, right? So any equipment, has there been a accounting for things that are coming out of those buildings that are no longer going to be used, as far as materials like furniture, furnishings, and anything that can be reused, that's going to be either recycled or in another department, how that's going. I'm assuming there's someone that's watching that.
Yes, so JDF is cleaned out, broom clean, and we've got everything out of there. The and you know, a lot of the stuff that was needed to run a JDF went over to Division 3 when they moved over, because they were still using that stuff. We have been working with our procurement director as well for there to be an appropriate public sector auction of materials that are not going to be used in the new facility. And so there's less stuff than you would imagine. A lot of stuff, especially when you look at these older jails, a lot of the stuff hasn't been touched for decades and decades and decades. And so those items which are usable, we will donate or somehow put to good use. I know, for instance, and I don't know if you got an update on it at all, if you recall the latest discussion, but there were some of the scoreboard in the juvenile detention facility, for instance, in the gym area, that is not needed in our new facility. And there were some local schools, I believe, who had an interest in potentially using some of that equipment. I don't know, is that?
Yeah, we were definitely looking into that. I could say I can confirm that there were desks and tables that were no longer needed and that were not going to be used, that we were already able to donate. And we were looking into basketball hoops and a scoreboard as potential items that may not be worth, that may be better off being recycled to another user that could utilize it if it was in good working condition.
Okay. Last thing is, I know we had an item on the full board agenda today, extending a contract with one of the buildings that the sheriff's department is using for administrative offices. And that then carries us into, I believe it was September, October, but
Yes,
and
September
I'm
30th.
sure we'll only be paying for the days that we actually use it. But I'm just hoping that we're going to see things proceed in such a way that we're not going to see, and I mentioned that earlier today, that we're not going to see that continue to build, that you're going to do everything you can to make sure that that timeline is adhered to, that we get everybody in, all the users into the building. Because I would hate to have things sort of make sourness in everyone taxpayer's mind, that we wind up having to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars and after the fact that the building was done. So, but I would appreciate next month if we get another report on where we're at, and I'm sure you'll do that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Martha, Commissioner Scott, any comment or anything?
No.
Recognize-
I hadn't, been a part of this for some time. Just wanted to see where we were.
Yeah, good, good. If there's no other questions, we'll move the agenda. Madam Clerk?
We are now on item E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I have nothing. Do either of you have anything else? Okay,
No.
seeing none. Next item.
Item F, public comments.
Have you received any online comments or emails?
No emails have been received and there are no participants on Zoom.
Okay. Darn. Anyone in the audience here that has a question or comment? All right. I see Chris doesn't have his hand up. All right. All right, thank you. Seeing none, we'll move the agenda.
Item G, adjournment.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? We can vote
We
on that. Second it.